Okay, lesson 5, getting the sewing machine ready to go. So you want to thread, I think you know how to thread the machine and thread the bobbin, but just in case I'm going to show you how my machine works because it's pretty similar to other machines. So if you look on the top, here's where I load the thread, the main spool of thread. And then you can see there is a little arrow here, and then you're going to pull the thread. My machine, you have to pull kind of tight, so there's like a little notch in the inside of the machine that the thread clicks into place. I'm not sure if your machine has that or not. And then it comes down, and you're going to come back up this route, and at the top you'll have this little hook, side view, and you're going to go around the hook and then back down through that same hole and then thread the needle. Okay? So another interesting thing that the Pfaff machine has is a needle threader. And I know sometimes I just can't get my eyes to do what I want it to do. It's this little notch on my machine. It's this little notch here that swings down and it clicks right into the hole. And there's little hooks. Let's see if I can get a nice close up here. Nice little hooks on the side of that you tuck the thread up under it. And then when you pull it back, it pulls it right through the hole. So it's a nice little feature, and I think your machine has that too. So if you're having trouble getting the thread into the hole. There is also a thread cutter around the side of the machine right here. So when you're done sewing one seam or one edge, you can actually take your thread, the two pieces together, and tuck it in this little corner, and it'll cut it for you. So that's kind of a nice feature too. To put the bobbin in the bobbin case, if you've got the bobbin case flipped upward, you're going to make sure that the thread is coming around clockwise, and you just throw it on top of that. And then there's a little notch on the side, right there. Let me see if I can get, there it is. So this little notch here, so the thread's going to come around, tuck behind there into that little hole, around that hook, and then out, okay? So to put the bobbin in the machine, you're just going to pull that little spring back and hold it. It's basically going to be about a little bit below horizontal, and you just lock it right into place. And to thread, to pull up the bobbin thread, you're just going to use the manual feed, turn it toward you, and then you'll see that the thread from the top winds around the bottom, and then you can just pull up both threads. That didn't work. My thread's too short. Make it longer. Do it again. And there, it should be ready. There we go. Okay, so to start, we've got the thread coming down from the top through the needle and under the presser foot, and then the bobbin coming from the bobbin cage up through the bottom and under the presser foot. And you sort of hold those two threads together to keep them out of the way and to create tension when you first start sewing. Okay, it's always a good idea to do a little practice run with a couple of stitches just to check your tension on the machine. I've been struggling with the tension on my machine lately, so hopefully it's doing fine. It needs a little maintenance. But you'll see right now I've got the top tension set at 4, which is a little bit higher than usual. I can't get it in focus. There we go. Top tension set at 4. Okay, so it's usually a good idea before you start to do a little tension check on your machine. Make sure the stitches are going to stitch nicely and evenly with good tension. And I'm starting with just plain, white fabric, woven fabric, and then I'm going to test it also on the fabric that I'll be using for the sweatpants. So I've been having some trouble with the tension on my machine, but I can see the top is set at 4. Usually the standard is 3. And then the bobbin tension, if it's set at 3, then you can adjust the bobbin tension to match. And then you only have to fudge with this one based on the type of fabric you're using. So you shouldn't really have to mess with the bobbin tension much. So let's check my tension. I'm going to do just my utility stitches, straight stitch, and I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. So let's check it. Okay, so looking at my stitches, it looks fine. There's no signs of too much pulling on the front side or too much looseness on the front side. And on the back side, it looks pretty good too. So we are good to try it on our other fabric now. Okay, here's my fabric. It's quite thick, so I imagine I'm going to have to loosen my tension a little, but I'm just going to do a little check. And I think actually I'm going to stitch it through this light part so I can see it a little bit better. Okay, it looks like it did pretty good. So we're ready to put things together. Maybe, I think that's okay. I think it's just because it kind of looked like it was a little too loose, but it doesn't look like it's moving or anything when I rub my finger on it. And then that looks good too. So I think we are ready to go. And the next lesson will be piecing the pants together and doing the initial stitches. So that will be lesson 6.